Patreon members, thank you so much for supporting us. Again, you get early access, and with my horrible schedule, I'll probably
only access.
Only access. I haven't been releasing these spoilers on our CinemAddicts YouTube channel. It's been weeks. I need to get to it, so you guys get early access. Let's start off with Sleeping Dogs. Eric Holmes, what kind of spoilers do you want to talk about? Or
so. The thing that you thought was a spoiler that I didn't think was a spoiler.
It is a spoiler?
No, the spoiler, and the spoiler is that Tommy Flanagan is not the one that set up that murder.
Okay.
The spoiler is Tommy Flanagan was protecting Russell Crowe because he is the one that caused the murder at the end.
That's true. I thought, look, here's the thing. And we're letting that go. I actually cut that part. In the spoiler, I cut your interview with Adam Cooper when you mentioned the detective. Even he did answer that spoiler question. The reason why, because I know that movie very well. When you realize he was kind of a corrupt cop, Bruce, you've seen it. Mm-hmm. It's not 10 minutes or 15 minutes in the movie. You're inferring that he is corrupt. You actually see it, and that's why we're leaving it in, because you're inferring that Russell Crowe. It's an
you don't think he's the murderer. You think he's just helping Flanagan get away with it.
Yeah, right. And hey, I believe the guy on death row is black, so like there's that too. Like
right.
We gotta thug off the streets. Like that's Russell Crowe pre head trauma or whatever he had, and now he's going back and he's like, I really beefed this one. What the hell's wrong with me? And then Tommy Flanagan's like, oh yeah, trying to be a friend to his.
That's right.
And then we see he starts getting closer. He's like, hey, back off. And I'm watching this thinking, oh, Tommy Flanagan has something to do with this. Turns out it was right, just for the wrong reason. Oh, Tommy Flanagan's protecting him because Russell Crowe is the one that, and so, but that's one of the things I liked about, because I thought it was interesting of someone just making a bunch of mistakes, content to live with it for whatever reason they tell themselves, and they go on and continue messing up. But the fact that he can go back and do a case all over again and slowly realize, wow, I'm a really big piece of crap. And then, Greg, you mentioned a alternate ending.
All right. Before we get to yes, thank you, Eric. Before we get to the alternate ending, is there any spoilers with Karen Gillan's character? I mean, she
doesn't need to be in the movie at all. That she's a total red herring.
Right. She is a red herring because
she's actually innocent of all wrongdoing.
Until the end, when for some reason she has a gun and she wants to kill everybody.
Everyone just starts shooting each other for no reason. Why is she shooting people? She's totally innocent.
The good, the bad, and the ugly standoff. How about that? Karen Gillan, Tommy Flanagan, Russell Crowe, they're together. There's guns. It's weird because the only spoiler with her is she wants to kill everybody because she doesn't want people to know that the credit that she's getting is thanks to her former lover. Some of it is thanks to her former lover, but
a lot of it stole it from her.
But she doesn't want to know that
she was still innocent.
I guess she doesn't want the truth to be known that she knows who killed or something like that. That's weird.
Yeah, I didn't even really consider that, but yeah, her character was kind of useless.
She is the classic MacGuffin. She is a MacGuffin. Yeah.
She's a MacGuffin. And why is she there at the end?
Why did they bury the murder weapon in the yard of the place where they did the murder?
Also, here, look at this. I don't know why I can do that.
Get rid of it somehow.
Also,
it seems like as cops, they do a better job than that, but whatever.
But also, they knew what was up. Like
they were running the scene, so they got away with it that way. Either way.
How does the cops not find it? Well, they're the cops. They were the ones on their own case.
Right.
I just thought that was kind of funny, though.
Tommy Flanagan obviously would have died from some kind of because he was an alcoholic, that character. But it's so sad that Russell Crowe's character hastened his best friend's death, who's, like you were saying, Eric, he's just trying to protect his buddy because his buddy, they were both corrupt cops, but Russell Crowe was the most corrupt out of all of them. He really was, because of the professor had a fling with Russell Crowe's wife, Roy Freeman's wife. And that's another weird thing, because you don't understand that whole wife thing, because the wife character doesn't really play a part until the end of the movie. Well, it doesn't matter, but it's sort of that wife character. She ends up dead in the movie because she died of some kind of condition, which is never explained. But it's one of these things where when you're having a suspense thriller and you suddenly throw in a big twist with a new character, That was a weird thing.
This is like one of those unsolvable ones. Like this one you can't solve because they cheat. They don't give you the actual information.
Right.
Whereas
it was
a movie like, and I'm not going to say what it is, but a movie like Deep Red literally tells you who the murderer is if you're paying attention. I just leave it at that.
Oh, very good.
See, I think where this is a great mystery is that it's a great mystery for Russell Crowe's character. We already know the answer. Right. But we're watching him figure it out. And that's kind of what I'm getting at, like from that perspective. Sure. But yeah, the stuff then, like, yeah, I didn't really think too much about it until like you guys were saying the thing about Karen Gillan. I'm like, yeah, okay.
Okay, so the ending,
you got a point there. But yeah, I think where this movie shines is just Russell Crowe's character and his journey finding that stuff out.
Let's get to the ending. Russell Crowe is at his coffee table. I think there is, if I recall, there's a gun. Maybe there. I don't know if there's whiskey or there's a gun. And he's. I think if I recall, he's looking at it, and it sort of cuts to him and the gun. There is no there. And then actually, he gets up and he maybe leaves the frame or something like that. You're expecting some kind of gunshot at the end, but you don't hear it. But Eric and Bruce, are you assuming that Roy Freeman, played by Russell Crowe, kills himself at the end? That's what I want to ask you. What are you assuming he commits suicide because he realizes the error of his ways, inadvertently kills his best friend because of Karen Gillan, and then, so anyways, what do you guys think at the end?
So
he leaves the frame.
I can't remember, like I vaguely remember the ending, but it's been a couple weeks since I've seen
him and a gun sitting on the couch, and he leaves.
If I'm following his character correctly, my guess is that he considers it, but turns himself in.
Okay.
Did the guy ever get off death row? Or
yeah, he did. He did at the end.
Okay, so yeah, if he's off death row, then probably just pop himself, I guess.
Yeah, his wife is dead. Everyone's dead. All of his loved ones are dead, and he realizes his life is pretty much meaningless. Bruce, what do you think? Does he kill himself at the end?
I think he goes to the doctor and has the things taken out of his head, and then he gets raised by Willem Dafoe.
Okay. I talked to the director for you guys, Adam Cooper. He said it's supposed to be inferred, or you just add up the clues. He kills himself at the end. That's the end. And he was actually thinking about if he should put a gunshot noise at the end credits to make it actually sort of like the sound effect of a movie that we actually talked about this week on CinemAddicts, but we won't get to the movie. We know what happens at that end. He left this one a little bit open-ended, but he says Russell Crowe's character commits suicide at the end with a gun. But the alternate ending, yes, Bruce?
Go ahead, tell me the alternate.
The alternate ending, which is left on the cutting room floor, there was another character. Like this movie needed more characters. By the way, folks, if you haven't seen our review, I really enjoyed it. Eric recommends it. Bruce was mixed on it, and he doesn't recommend it. Anyways, there is a kid in a neighbor who's kicking like some kind of ball down the hallway, and he's sort of a character in the story. And at the end, while Russell Crowe is with the gun on the table, he hears the boy kicking outside. Ultimately, he lets the boy in, and the movie ends with Russell Crowe and the boy sitting together on the couch, close. So you're inferring that he's thinking about suicide, but then he realizes he actually has someone in his life, and that's a kid.
And then he does a big dangerous and puts his head next to the kid.
right.
Let me give you a third alternate, which is kind of a version of what I already said. What if the third version is he goes to the doctor and he says, I want you to take this. I can't live with my life like this. I need to take this out so I don't have the memory. So my memory has gone back to terrible. Yeah. And they say, ethically, we can't do that. You're going to have to live with it. And that's how it ends.
Oh, that's interesting.
I like that.
I like that. But anyways, though that's separate.
Because like him killing himself was like, you just got away with it. Like, I mean, you're dead, obviously, but
yeah, Eric, I'm surprised.
But at the same time, like he discovered that he was this person. Yeah. Eric,
I'm surprised you forgot the ending of that he killed himself. Bruce, you saw that. Was it clear for you, right? Bruce, he kills himself.
I mean, the assumption was that was going to happen. Yeah.
I guess you said you'd forget it, but it was pretty memorable.
That's why I like movies like with Russell Crowe forgetting things, because I relate to it.
Okay, so that is our spoiler discussion of Sleeping Dogs. Again, that was open in theaters March 22nd. CinemAddicts listeners, check it out. Tell us what you think about it, and thank you for supporting us on Patreon. Adam, I'm going to cut this part of the interview for the weekend of its release. I'm going to recommend your film to my Patreon listeners, and we're going to talk. We're going to talk about the ending. So this will not show up at all in any of the public things when it's released. But I have a couple of questions regarding the ending. Yeah. Talk about that ending and actually giving the audience sort of a participation in seeing what's the next couple of frames looks like regarding Crowe's character, regarding Roy. Are we to assume that Roy's taking the gun and taking accountability? Although I wouldn't be pro suicide on this, but
Right.
can you just talk about that? And then and then also the wife situation. Do we assume that because of alcoholism, she passed away 5 years ago? Or maybe does his buddy, when he knocks on that window, is he sort of strong arming her? So I was just wondering about her passing. Those two things. Yeah.
Okay, got it. So, I mean, it's a story about a man who, because he feels alone in the world, doesn't have memory, and memory is what gives us context. Friends, family, loved ones, social status. He really wants to get his memory back so he can connect, right? So he goes on this journey to get that memory back, right? And then when he finally does get his memory back, he wishes that he never did, because now he has to live with the knowledge of what he's done. And so the question you're asking is, at the end of the movie, does he decide to sort of live with the knowledge of what he's done, or does he decide to put himself out of his misery? And I think the narrative, I think what you see on the screen probably suggests that he's going to put himself out of his misery. But we could have done a lot of different things. We could have had an off-screen gunshot. We could have, we shot a thing where there's a moment when you're watching the film when he feels like this with his eyes and he looks up. And the reason that he did that is because on the day there's a knock at the door, right? And there used to be a little boy in the movie who lived next door, right? He used to throw a basketball against the side of the house. And we shot all of this. And there was an alternative ending where he's looking at the gun. You hear the ball against the side of the house. He gets up, he brings the boy in, and the end of the movie is the two of them sitting on the couch together.
Wow.
And we ultimately made our choice in the cutting room that we really wanted Roy to be a man alone. There have been different endings of the movie. But we felt like this ending was the appropriate one.
And the wife, just quickly on the the passing.
So the banging on the window is actually Russell's character.
Oh,
in the car. And in my mind, she died of cancer or something like that after they'd broken up and he'd moved out and began his life again. Was that she died of cancer.